The candle had almost burned itself out when someone knocked on my front door. I had already accepted that no one was coming. The tiny cupcake sitting on my kitchen table was the only birthday gift I expected that year, and I was seconds away from blowing out the candle alone when that unexpected knock changed everything I believed about loss, forgiveness, and the quiet miracles that sometimes arrive when hope has nearly disappeared. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can still change lives, and that hope, compassion, forgiveness, and second chances still matter in this world, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing stories that remind people they are never truly alone. My name is Nathan, and I lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Asheville, North Carolina. By my 36th birthday, my life looked nothing like I had imagined. 2 years earlier, the small furniture workshop I had built with my father had closed after rising costs and months without enough customers. Shortly afterward, my father passed away following a brief illness, and my engagement quietly ended when the woman I planned to marry admitted she wanted a different future. None of it happened dramatically. Life simply unraveled one thread at a time until I barely recognized it. I found work repairing cabinets and installing shelves, enough to pay rent but not enough to erase the feeling that I had somehow failed everyone who had believed in me. Birthdays had once filled our home with laughter. My mother baked cakes from scratch, my father insisted on singing louder than everyone else, and neighbors wandered in without invitations. But after losing both of my parents, birthdays became reminders of empty chairs instead of celebrations. That year, I ignored every calendar notification, bought myself a single cupcake from a grocery store, and planned to let the day disappear without anyone noticing. The evening sunlight stretched across my apartment floor as I stared at the flickering candle. I whispered a quiet prayer that I wasn't even sure anyone could hear. I didn't ask for money or success. I simply asked for one reason to believe tomorrow could be different from yesterday. Then came the knock. Standing at the door was a young woman named Grace. She had recently moved into the small blue house across the street with her elderly grandmother, Margaret. We had exchanged polite greetings while collecting mail or mowing our lawns, but we barely knew each other. Yet there she stood, holding a neatly wrapped box tied with a navy ribbon, her eyes filled with nervous determination. She explained that her grandmother had noticed I always left for work before sunrise and returned after dark. She had also remembered seeing me visit the cemetery with fresh flowers every Sunday. Earlier that afternoon, while baking cookies, Margaret had noticed the grocery bag carrying a single cupcake and quietly guessed it must be my birthday. She refused to let anyone celebrate alone if she could help it. I was overwhelmed before I even opened the gift. Inside the box wasn't anything expensive. It was a beautifully restored wooden toolbox. My breath caught instantly because it looked almost identical to the one my father had carried every day for nearly 30 years. Resting inside was a handwritten letter. Margaret explained that her late husband had been a carpenter too. Before he passed away, he had asked her to give the toolbox to someone who still worked with their hands and needed encouragement more than money. She wrote that tools build furniture, but hope builds lives, and she believed both deserved to be passed forward. I couldn't hold back the tears. That simple gift awakened something inside me I thought had disappeared forever. The next morning, I cleaned the toolbox, organized my old equipment, and decided I would reopen my workshop, not as a business chasing profits, but as a community space where people could learn woodworking, repair broken furniture, and simply spend time together. The beginning was difficult. I had little savings, borrowed equipment, and plenty of doubts. But Grace volunteered every weekend. Margaret baked cookies for visitors, and neighbors slowly started donating unused tools. Parents brought teenagers eager to learn practical skills. Retirees stopped by to share stories and craftsmanship. Little by little, the empty warehouse transformed into a place filled with laughter, encouragement, and purpose. Months later, a local newspaper featured our workshop. Donations arrived from across the state. Soon we were teaching veterans, young adults searching for direction, and families rebuilding after difficult seasons. The business supported itself, but more importantly, it restored something far more valuable than furniture. It restored confidence. Whenever someone thanked me for changing their life, I quietly smiled because I knew the truth. Everything had begun with one unexpected knock on a lonely birthday evening and one thoughtful gift given by strangers who simply refused to let another person feel forgotten. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to support the video by liking it, sharing it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribing so more people can discover stories filled with hope and compassion. Before we reach the end, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment telling us about a small act of kindness that changed your life, or someone who became your miracle when you needed one most. Your story might encourage another person who is silently struggling today. Now, every year on my birthday, the workshop closes early. We gather around a long wooden table built by dozens of hands working together. There is always a single cupcake with one candle placed in the center before the larger cake arrives. It reminds everyone that even the loneliest moment can become the beginning of something beautiful. Sometimes the greatest gifts aren't wrapped in expensive paper. Sometimes they arrive carrying hope, restoring faith, and reminding us that God often answers quiet prayers through ordinary people willing to knock on a stranger's door. And every time I see that old toolbox resting by the entrance, I remember that my life didn't change because I received a gift. It changed because someone chose kindness when they had no reason to, proving that one compassionate heart can light another long after every candle seems ready to burn out.